Yes, hi. I Ching Bagua, following the 12 tidal hexagrams, following the 24 solar terms, following the 72 pentads, and following the 72 lines. Observing I Ching and nature, 5 days with 5 sources. Hi, my name is Paul Chapman. I enjoy I Ching. I love Chinese medicine. Been doing it for quite some time, but this is a completely new idea and it should be fun to do. So all it encounters, let's just get another slide up, is here's 5 sources. And as we go through this PowerPoint presentation, you will come into just a little demonstration of each of these 5 sources. This one's I Ching by Alfred Huang, the Occult I Ching, Secrets of the I Ching, How to Use the I Ching. This is an app on my phone, the Visionary I Ching. Doesn't matter what sort of I Ching you've got, as long as you've got, I would suggest 5, but you can also use 1 if you've got a favorite. But 5 will give you a little bit of diversity. And then each day we read from just one of the sources. So say you could say day 1, we read from Alfred Huang's I Ching. Day 2, we read from Stephen Karcher, etc., etc. And we start, depending on when you start, and I'll show you that as we go through the presentation as well, but we're actually going to start at the beginning of each month, each branch month, with the bottom line of a hexagram. And we do the same line for 5 days, and then we move up to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So over a period of 30 days, we go through all of the 6 lines of the hexagram and with 5 different sources. And anything else to say there? Not on that one. So December 7, let me just come back to the first slide, this one. So for those that are familiar with branches, tidal hexagrams and all that, you're okay. But for those of you who are not, in Chinese medicine, there are 12 meridians and they run in a particular cycle relating to 2-hour time periods per day, per day. So here, gallbladder, GB, liver, lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, urinary bladder, kidney, pericardium, and organ that's called the Sanjiao, or the triple burner, triple warmer. And each of these meridian relates to a month. So here we got December, January, February, March, April, May, etc., as we go around. And within each month is what's called a tidal hexagram, which is not going to go right into that now, but we just have to know that there is a tidal hexagram for each month, and that is what we're going to utilize in our study. So here's just an example of if we come back here again, see this hexagram down here, 1 straight line on the bottom, 5 dotted lines above it, which is called return. And we'll find out what all return means as we go through this progressively, not today, but in the group. So here's just an example, December 7th to 11th. The sky is cold, winter comes. So these are the pentads. They got some beautiful expressions. December 12 to 16, the bear retreats to its den. The salmon gather to spawn. The common self-heal sprouts. The elk sheds its horns, or the big deer shed their horns. And January, well, I don't know if I've got December there, but January 1st to 5th, beneath the snow, wheat sprouts. So in each of these 5-day periods, there's a recording of something that's happening in nature. And what we're going to do is, as we go through each of the lines and the time period and look at the description from the pentads, the 72 pentads, which are these descriptions, which we have all listed out for you at the end of this presentation, we're going to start to observe what's actually occurring in our neighborhood. So it might be the pub's got a special on Jim Beam. Does that happen every year? I don't know. But we're going to actually start to observe in our own environment what, spurred on by these comments, what are we noticing in these 5-day periods? And surprisingly or not, eventually they become quite useful in diagnosis. So following is a wonderful hexagram all on its own. There is a thing called Yuan Hong Li Jun, the 4 emanations. And this is one of the, I think it's only 3 hexagrams within the I Ching. I'm not exactly sure about that, but only 3 that have all of these qualities. The other 2 are the first hexagram Qian heaven and the second hexagram Kun earth. So this is a very special hexagram, especially for support and community and helping each other. Rah, 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 rah. Anyway, just briefly, Luang Hong Li Jun, if we just look at it as seasons, so Yuan is the spring, so all energetics that relate to the spring, growth, emergence, flexibility, perseverance, sun rising, warmth, all of those things that come out of the east relate to Yuan. And it holds the name sublime and initiative. And I'm just pointing this out for these reasons in the bold. Hung is summer, its energetic is prosperous and smooth. Li relates to autumn, favorable and beneficial, and Jun relates to winter, steadfast and upright. So I'm just pointing these things out because when you start, if you've not looked at the I Ching much, when you go to an I Ching thing, you're going to see a decision somewhere within the book, and you're probably going to read it rather than just a line. So when you get things like turning back, that's the name of the hexagram, prosperous and smooth. So turning back is telling us that telling us that turning back, even though it's 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., actually is connected to the energetic of prosperous and smooth in the summer energy, which is the south for the northern hemisphere, or the north for the southern hemisphere. So we've got opposites here in the vertical axis between north and south. They're already saying within the decision that there is a connection going on here. Going out and coming in, no harm. Friends arrive, no fault. Again, this is not. It's not necessary to go into depth about it. I'm just pointing out that when you see things like down here, favourable to have somewhere to go, favourable is also going to link us to the autumnal energy, the going in, the introspection. Yuan Divine is a book that we're studying in the 12 Earthly Branches study group at the moment, along with other teachers in the world. So I just wanted to put a little bit in. So if you are a rat, which is the animal for the gallbladder branch, the challenge is for you to be true to your authenticity and uniqueness and to shape and express the self in society, which these are actually qualities of the heart branch, the Wu, the opposite 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So the gallbladder needs to develop and incorporate the qualities of the Wu heart in summer branch. So he just points that out. He also goes on to say that the bottom line represents renewed awakened consciousness, because this of course is around winter solstice, the new light, or the ending of the light, the beginning of the new, the Christmas holiday, the pagan holiday that was before that, the 3 days of stasis of the sun, the sun's angle of its ascent and descent across the sky. Lots of things related to the return, and very, very important for our health and well-being. The true yang resides in this, or is symbolically represented in this hexagram. So latent needs is just beginning, ideas and desires that are ready to be realized by the 5 receptive yin lines. Yeah, so this yang line has no obstacles, no obstructions at the moment for it to move its growth through. Unhindered growth of all that is hidden is made possible by the openness and receptivity of the trigram Earth. So imagine if Earth isn't open and receptive. It's going to create a bit of stagnation down at the bottom, down in the lower GL. within the gallbladder system. The degree of fellowship, responsibility, and compassion, the signature of the trigram Earth, which is the three yin lines. This is a yin line, this is a yang line. Evolves from the yang source of thunder. So the bottom three lines are the Jun thunder trigram. When the initial growth of the source of life meets resistance, compassion is rooted only in the mind, but not in who we really are. There's that authenticity again. Too much worrying, stubbornness, obsession, and intellectualization may suffocate the newly born light before it has really started well. And that's in Johan's book, Applying Stems and Branches Acupuncture in Clinical Practice, Chapter 40, The Unlike Chi Relationship Between Zi and Wu, page 365. So let's have a look at the 5 sources, just to give you an example. I'm not going to read through them, so I'll put the PowerPoint slides up as well. You can have a look at those. This one's Alfred Wong, so it's number 24 hexagram, called Turning Back or Return. Other sources might have different names. And you go to the first line, the bottom line, not the top one, the bottom, and then just read out what it's about. So let's just read Alfred's to begin with. It. The line is the host of the Gua, which is named for a hexagram. A host is symbolic of the total meaning of the hexagram. It represents the beginning of an incident. The yang element at the bottom starts to grow and drive away the negative forces, which some say classified as the yin. It symbolizes the turning back of the light from the darkness. So yin's reached its maximum, and now the yang starts to rise again. It also represents one turning back from a minor error. Okay, why is it minor? Because it's at the base, it's at the beginning. So when a mistake is altered at the beginning, that's pretty cool. It's good. It's good. Where are we? Because the error is at an initial stage, it is not yet serious. Now I should just keep reading. If one knows to amend one's mistakes at the very beginning, it is not too difficult to make a fresh start. There is nothing to regret. In the commentary on this line, Confucius says, turning back without going too far, one cultivates virtue. And this refers to his favorite student, Yen Hui. Once he said, Yen Hui acts almost without fault. If there is anything not good, he never fails to recognize it. Once recognized, he never commits it a second time. This behavior, of course, is supremely auspicious. And so you read that in the morning, and then leave it. Let it mature. Let it percolate within. You might even formulate a question: what errors have I made that I need to pull back on, or what errors am I making? And that might be how you open your eyes in the morning. It could be something as simple as that. So, and then you go about your day. So here's one from Stephen Karcher. They're quite different, some of these, which is useful because it gives you a different way of looking at it. This one's from Marja Daoust. I don't know quite how to pronounce her name. She talks a bit about karma, I think, somewhere in here. Joseph Murphy, this is one that we picked up, and it's got kind of a Christian tone to it. It can be quite interesting sometimes. And here's an app I've got on my phone that I've utilised as well. So they're just 5 different sources. So between the 7th and the 11th of December, it's the wrong. Okay, that's coming to the southern hemisphere. But if we just go back then, so between the 7th and the 11th of December in the northern hemisphere, you're going to be looking at the baseline of the 24th hexagram as a guide. Yeah. In the southern hemisphere, we're going to jump to the opposite side, and we're going to look. And when I say opposite, if you look at this hexagram, 1 straight line, 5 dotted lines. one dotted line, 5 straight lines. So here we got what's called an inverse, or well, not an inverse, sorry, this is an oppositional hexagram. So all lines are in their opposite form. And we're just going to do the same for this is the 44th hexagram called encountering. So in the Southern Hemisphere, starting tomorrow, the 7th of December, we're going to look at the baseline here. If you happen to find this a week later and you join on the 17th, then let's start on the 3rd line. Okay, or the 4th or 5th, you know, depending on whenever you start. You might start in I don't know, June sometime. Here's just the decision for encountering. The maiden is strong. Do not engage in marrying such a woman. And the woman is represented as the yin, and there's a lot of connotation around the negativity of yin in the I Ching. However, if you go a bit deeper, if you look at Johan's book, for example, he talks much more about the positive aspects of yin. Find your 5 I Ching sources. We've done that. Here's the 5 for encountering from the same books. I'll go through those. For the 72 seasons or the 72 pentads, there's a couple of links. This one's a video. Just goes through them just quite quickly. It's a bit hard to follow. This one's a bit easier. It's in a article. But what I've done is I've copied them out for you. So we just look here. So here's the gallbladder. It's in water. Let's just go back a couple of slides. So here we can see gallbladder, Sanjiao are in winter and in water. So it's not just that gallbladder is related to the wood element, as we learn in Chinese medicine. Here it has a water quality, as does the Sanjiao. So it's in water. It's starting around the 7th. There's probably 1 or 2 days either side of this that we can go, but this is just a generic use. And what I've done is in this column here, I'll put the Northern Hemisphere date, months changes. And in this one, I put the Southern Hemisphere correspondence. So in the North, we start December the 7th with the return hexagram. And in the Southern Hemisphere, we'll be doing that on the 7th of June. Yeah, so again in the winter time, coming up to the winter solstice. These are the 24 solar terms. So there's two solar terms per month. And again, they give us demonstration of what's occurring in nature. So here we've got great snow, which changes around the 21st December to the winter solstice, and then around the 5th, 6th of January to a little cold, and so on and so on. Here's the lines or the yaos of the hexagram. So for this hexagram here, again, we're starting line 1 at the bottom, line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that just goes all the way through. So like I said, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you find this on the 3rd of August, you might just do the 6th line of this one, and then on the 4th start this hexagram here. Here's your pentads. The sky's closed for winter, bears hibernate in their dens, as I said, etc., etc. So these are, if you're fortunate enough to live in nature, you're going to have your own, you know, like chickens. If you've got chickens, for example, chickens start laying eggs. Yeah, so it's be interesting to see how closely that relates in the Southern Hemisphere from the 30th of July to the 3rd of August. You know, how are your chickens online? So there's 3 of these. Oops. They just follow in succession. And then this is actually from the Pentad World, where I got this information from, and I thought some of you might like it because it's also got the Chinese characters, which I don't read, I'm afraid. If you're This is an extension of, or this is a fun group really. This is just a read a bit of the I Ching out each day over a period of a year. If you do it each day, what you will learn is the 12 tidal hexagrams. You will also learn their seasonal associations of the meridians to the clock flow. You'll also learn the 12 earthly branches, mainly just their names to begin with, but we will, as we discuss and stuff together in the group, I'm sure a lot of information and insight will come through. If you want to go into more depth, we do a 12-month course on the 12 earthly branches. Again, it's a study group. We study from Johan Devine and Luli Hong and Jin Qin Nang, Master Zhongshan and Karen Taylor Wu, Alfred Huang, Mikishima, and more, much more resources. But you could say that the main three, Johan Lu and Jung Qin Nang, are the primary three sources that we're working from. We do one meeting a month. It's a 2-hour session, so you basically get 24 hours, which is like a 3-day seminar, isn't it, over a year. There is an online study portal, and for each month there's a series of videos, questions, PowerPoints, and the dynamic cheat sheet, you could say, that has all the information on one sheet for the branch. And we're looking at stems and branches, we're looking at I Ching, we're looking at 6 confirmations, coming from the principles of the five spirit school. I've been working in balance method acupuncture now for 12 years, 11 years. But more a slant towards incorporating that into stems and branches. So not, which is, in my opinion, it's far more safe for the client, because we don't destroy their constitution unknowingly. Anyway, it's a great little group. Plenty of study if you want it, and but we can talk about that also if you're interested along the way. All right, well, that's it. Pop your questions in the group. Someone will answer them, hopefully. And if we can't answer them, then we'll work on finding answers. Right. All right, guys. Lovely talking to you, and I'll just see if I can turn this video off. Yeah, got it. All right. See ya.